Haven't you one day just sat down to think, why do I keep finding myself in the same situations over and over and over again? It can't possibly be a coincidence at this point. Why am I dating the same type of men? Why are they doing exactly the same type of things to me? Why is everything always turning out the same way? What is this pattern about?
Long as you choosing that way for me, I ain't got it. I've been scheming, looting, hide your body. As long as you dreaming about me.
When you start to ask yourself those questions, that's when you can finally be able to figure out what to do, what not to do, and how to get yourself out of that never ending cycle. So, the thing I've noticed about an anxious attachment style is that it makes you settle for less. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're settling for less until you bring yourself out of the situation and now look at it from an outsider's perspective and be like, oh my God, how did I allow all of that to happen? What was wrong with me? And then tomorrow you're in the same situation. There's obviously a problem there. And until you work on yourself, you won't be able to get yourself out of those situations. It will keep happening. I read somewhere that you keep getting the same tests or you keep seeing yourself in the same situations until you finally pass the test. If you don't pass the test, like just like when you're in class, if you're in school, right, you're in a class or even uni, you're at a particular stage or level in university, and you feel the courses are required to move to the next level, progress, you would have to repeat that semester, that level, that class until you pass it. And if you don't pass it, you're not going to get out of it. You're going to have to keep doing it or you drop out, right? Because you have to pass it to go to the next level. You can't get to the next level if you're not passing the test that is required. It's the same thing when it comes to this whole anxious attachment style and even dating generally. When you see yourself in the same kind of situations, even outside this anxious attachment style, just some other things like toxic relationships and, emotional abuse, physical abuse, all of that, you keep finding yourself with similar men. That's why most times, people date the same type of man once, twice, thrice, because it's a test. And until you pass that test, you can't get out of that situation, right? So now it's when you see that, okay, this is happening too much, you have to now stop and, okay, we need to do something. And that's why I am here. That is what I am here for, to tell you the things that I have tried, that I have done so far that have helped me to, you know, slowly overcome this attachment style. I'm not there yet, but it's a work in progress. And these are some things that I picked up on the way and I learned. And I actually always, when I notice that I'm doing something, I note it down. Obviously, because of you guys, because I love you, and I don't want to, and I don't want to be alone on this journey. I want you guys to come along with me and also free yourself from the shackles of an anxious attachment style because I know how suffocating it is. So yeah. So the number one tip I would give anybody is detach from outcomes. Oh my god, I did not realize I was doing this until this recently that I said, okay, let me actually start picking out the things I do that are not helping my anxious attachment style. And I noticed that whenever I start talking to someone and I like them and I somehow catch feelings for them, I automatically assume that we're going to end up together, that we're going to be in some sort of relationship. Immediately, I'm thinking happily ever after. I start thinking of the wedding dress or where we're going. I start thinking about everything without even sitting down to be logical. Like I feel like sometimes we think too much with our hearts and our emotions, and it's just feelings, feelings. But your feelings can mislead you, and you should not allow your feelings control you. You should control your feelings because you're the owner of it. Your feelings don't own you. You own it. You own them. So why are you allowing your feelings to dictate how your life goes, especially if it's not helping you, right? So you need to actually stop and like, hey, I own myself, I own my feelings. I'm supposed to decide what happens, what goes. I'm not supposed to just ride with the wave or ride the wave, right? So You need to think with your brain, be a bit logical. Yes, I am having some kind of attachment with this person. Sometimes you don't even like the person. Do you know? It was recently I had to. I stopped and I analyze the situation, and I'm like, most times I don't even like them, like genuinely. When you're out of the situation, that's when you can actually judge it with a clear eye, and you'll be like, I didn't even like this person. Do you get? So your mind plays tricks on you, especially when you have like some sort of trauma and all of that, like I discussed in the previous episode, previous part rather episode. If you have some sort of trauma, your mind, when they just see something to cling on, when like your emotions, like if you have this attachment style, your emotions, that part of you just wants to cling onto something, your inner child, or how do they call it? So it just wants to cling onto something, and when they get the slightest bit of maybe attention or something that you've been lacking or something that you've been wanting, most likely most times is attention. When you start having that attention from one particular person over a period of time, you start thinking that you like them just because you've always wanted that connection, and you've always wanted to hold on to people, and you've always wanted to just feel like, okay, somebody sees you, somebody chooses you, you know. But most of the times that's not actually what it is. You don't actually like them, like you don't genuinely have real feelings for them. It's limerence most times, is just attachment issues, and you're just confused, you don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what you want. So going forward, what you have to start doing now is, once you start catching yourself in that phase where you're like, you just like this person and you're beginning to become attached, I feel like you should start, make a list, like have a note, open your notes app, make a list. Write down your, in fact, before this, you should already have that, like the list of things you want, or list of values, or things you want somebody that you're going to be with to have or to possess, you know, characteristics, just what you want in that person. And be very, very honest with yourself, because sometimes we delude ourselves. We know deep down that this is not actually what we want, but you still delude yourself because attachment issues. Honestly, it's just attachment issues, because you don't, sometimes you even think, oh yeah, because you, it's because you love them, that's why you're making, you don't love them. You don't, sometimes you don't even know them enough to love them. It's just attention and attachment issues, which you need to fix. If not, you're never going to get out of it, honestly. So sit down, write a list. What are the things I like? What are the things I want to, what are the things that are my non-negotiables? I can't negotiate this one. If you don't, I can't compromise on this. If you don't have this, if you're not like this, if you're not doing this, I am not staying, right? Things you can't and you won't tolerate, and the things you must see and you can't compromise. Write them down and be very logical and be very honest with yourself when you're asking yourself these questions. Be very honest with yourself. That's the only way you can be logical in that situation and make the right decision for you. Because why we find ourselves in situations like this is because we are not logical with ourselves, we're not honest with ourselves. We allow our emotions cloud our thinking and our minds, that we start making rash, irrational decisions, you know. So when you do that, you'll be able to an extent, have some control over your emotions. Okay, what am I doing? This person doesn't even do this. This person is not even like this. So why am I doing like, oh, this person is perfect? This person is not even close. This person is not even close to perfect. And I need to see that they do all of these things. If those are your non-negotiables, I need to see that they do all of these things. And no matter how much I think I like them or how fine they are, if they don't do these things, or if they are not like this, and maybe you've mentioned it once and it's not, or you've not even mentioned it at all, but you just know that this is not the way this person is, just take yourself out of that situation, because that is when you start compromising on your values and your standards, that's when you start finding yourself in situations that you end up regretting. So it's better to be very honest with yourself at the beginning, or at the moment you catch yourself falling, and then you can pick yourself up and be like, okay, what am I doing? No, I can't tolerate this. I'm not doing this. Like for example, you know you love communication, you know you love constant communication, reassurance, your love languages, words of affirmation, quality time, and the person is not a good texter, or doesn't like calls, or always busy, so they can't always come and be seeing you. Doesn't make them a bad person, but it is not who you want. It is not who you're looking for, and you have to be honest with yourself about it, because most times we see these things and we start. That's when we now start making compromises that we're not supposed to make and giving excuses, and that's how we find ourselves in these stupid situations because you saw it, you ignored it. Like Ruga literally sang it. Like you saw the red flags and you ignored it. That is on nobody. If at the end they do something that fucks the whole thing up, you can't say anything because you saw it deep down. Even if you don't admit it to anybody, you know that you saw it and you ignored it. So you can't be ignoring these things. Like, okay, normally like for example, now you've told him that you're not texting me enough, you're not communicating enough, we don't spend time, and maybe they give some flimsy excuse or they lie or they promise to do something about it and you still don't see it. That's the point that you're supposed to take yourself out of that situation. That is the point that you're supposed to take yourself out of that situation. Because if you don't take yourself out of that situation at that point, you already started making compromises on your standards. And those are the situations that always end up proving to you why you should never make compromises because you will always regret it at the end of the day. So instead of giving yourself excuses, it's not, maybe he's just busy. He's just not a good communicator. Like, I mean, it happens sometimes. You know, he's so busy, but don't fall for it. I don't want to speak too much on that, but don't fall for it. Like, believe actions. It's not about somebody telling you that they will work on it. If they're not doing it, they're not doing it, and that's fine. But not for you because you know what you want, and you know deep down that you want a lot of attention, a lot of communication. You want these things. Don't compromise it for anybody because in their own, if the tables were turned, most times they won't compromise for you. Yeah, they won't make compromises. Men most times don't like making compromises, except they really like you. But women, any little thing, you have some sort of emotions, they are controlling you. You little thing, you're yeah, okay, maybe start giving excuses. Why are you giving excuses? Why? If the tables were turned, they would literally throw you in the trash. So you need to think with your brain, be logical, not here. This place is going to mislead you. So let's not do that. Now, it's so ironic how anxiously attached people usually almost always attract avoidantly attached people. And it's like two ends of the spectrum. So why are we always attracting each other? Not me, I don't identify as that anymore, but why are they always attracting each other? Have you ever started to think about it? This analogy, I'm just giving this picture, painting this picture for you so that you understand why you need to be logical and run away from people that are actually not for you because you will never heal your attachment style if you're always with the wrong type of people. If you're not with the right person for you, you will only be able to heal it when you're able to either stand very confidently on your own or not make compromises and make sure you're being honest with yourself and only giving room or opportunity to the right people, the people that fit into your criterias. Because the avoidantly attached person, or they gain or get some sort of validation from you wanting them, right? And always wanting to be around them, all of that. It gives them some sort of validation because they are used to, I think they're used to neglect from my own analysis. So because of that fact that they're used to neglect, when people actually start showing them attention, they're not used to receiving attention, they're not used to being wanted or being loved or being needed. So when people need them, they give space. So the other person pushes and it kind of validates them. So the more you push when they give space, the more they want to give space next time so that you push again. And you understand the you understand how that's going and how that's going to work, and it's going to be so toxic, so bad. Another thing is that because an avoidantly attached person is not used to being wanted or loved or needed, when they see somebody or something, a situation that seems like it's getting serious, it scares them. So they pull away. That's another reason why they pull away because they don't want to be in a situation whereby they end up being left or they don't want to feel weak, they don't want to feel vulnerable. So they rather just take themselves out of that situation or pull back so that they are just comfortable in their own bubble. Like they are too scared to be to let themselves be in that vulnerable position. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, the anxiously attached person sees somebody, they like the person, or they start spending time with the person, and the person starts giving them attention initially, because usually from the avoidantly attached person, they will give you some attention, and then when it's looking serious, they push it, they pull back. They give you and they pull back. So they are the ones that usually do the hot and cold more. And then the anxiously attached person, because they've received so much attention at some point, when you pull back, they're like, oh my god, where is the attention? I need it. I want to eat it. I want to hold on to it. I want it. I need it. And then they start pushing more. Texting. You start texting. That's how you find yourself double texting. You're calling when they're not calling you. You're calling. They've not spoken to you since morning. You're asking, oh, where are you? Like, if somebody gives you, you give your. But just because of this, the way they are both so opposite, somehow they find themselves attractive, because somehow they fulfill each other's trauma. I don't know how to put it, but I'm sure you get what I mean. Like they just balance each other out sometime, somehow. And it's just like they just need each other for that balance, which is very, very toxic balance, by the way. And I don't think it's even balance, it's just push and pull, like tug of war type thing. And it's very, very unhealthy. So because you don't want that, avoidantly attached people are the people you should run away from, people that are not on your wavelength, people that are not. So as much as you know that, okay, me myself, so I should try and stop doing too much. I need to calm down and not do too much all the time. Not always want to be around. Not always want just calling for love, begging for love. No. As much as yes, I'm saying we should work on that. We also still need somebody that is willing to give you that and is not going to make it feel like you're asking for too much, because you will never be able to heal in that situation. When you start feeling safe, it even makes it easier for you to unlearn those toxic habits. But if you keep doing the push and pull with the avoidantly attached person, you're never going to get out of it. So the first thing you have to do is to get yourself out of that cycle. And that is by being logical, thinking about it deeply, and also do not compromise on your standards, do not compromise on your values, and detach from outcomes. Detach from outcomes. Don't have specific expectations. It doesn't always have to end in a specific way. Some people are meant to be your friends, and that's fine. Some people are just meant to teach you a lesson, and that's fine. Like you need to stop obsessing over every situation. Like every situation is supposed to lead to something. It doesn't have to lead to something. You may just have to take one lesson from it, or two, or just something from it, but it doesn't have to lead to something. So detach from outcomes and enjoy it. Like dating is meant to be fun, but I think that because of the pressure we put and the expectations we have in our head, we take the fun out of it and we make it so serious. Now I'm talking about we, by we I mean like anxiously anxiously attached people. So we take the fun out of it and make it feel too serious that, oh yes, this must be something. This is, maybe this is it. This is it. It's not it. Sometimes it's just have fun with it. Like there's some experiences I've had. I'm like, that was fun. Like yes, it didn't end up in happily ever after. It wasn't a fairy tale ending, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Like I always say, I look back and I'm like, I actually enjoyed it while it lasted. I enjoyed that experience. It was an experience. It was part of my life story. It doesn't have to be the end. It doesn't have to be the destination. It can just be a part of the story. It can just be an experience, and that is okay. Do you hear? It is okay. Relax. It doesn't have to be anything serious. You're obsessing over situations too much and ferret, like it's okay. Funny enough, these things they come when we least expect it. When you're thinking like there's something I read or saw somewhere. The more you chase, obviously, will you chase something that is not running? If the thing is not running, you're not chasing it now. You too, you stop. Because if you're running and the person you're chasing is standing, you too, you have to stand. But the more you run, the more the person runs, the more they chase. So the more you pursue something, the more it runs from you. Do you get? If you're not pursuing it, it's not going to run from you. It will stand, and you two you stand and you face each other. But because you're chasing it, you want it so bad. Ah, I want love. I want love. I want this. I want this. It keeps running away. That's why it never works out for you. It's so funny because like I'm somehow talking to myself at the same time. But yeah, it's funny, but it's true because you will never get it if you keep chasing it. Stop chasing it. Just live your life. There's so many chapters and facets to our lives, and we're always so focused on, by we again in this video, I mean people that are anxiously attached or that have that attachment style. So we're always so focused on this aspect. Like, what about your hobbies? What about career? What about exploring the world? What about making money? What about exploring, discovering yourself? Especially when we're young and especially when we're in our 20s, like this is your time to leave. Why are you so like there's all the time in the world for that. Like let every part of your life, live every part of your life like how that part of your life is supposed to be lived. This part of your life, if you're in your 20s, is for exploring, finding yourself, going on adventures, having stories to tell your kids, finding yourself, knowing who you truly are, what you truly want out of life. We need to start taking the pressure out of things and just enjoy. It's like a movie and you're just discovering the scenes as they come. You don't know the ending, but you're just willing to just discover it and experience it and see how it goes and see where it leads. I feel like that's the approach we should take instead of just want. Because the more you want, the less you get. So yeah, that is that. Another thing that helps me get out of my head in this type of situation is when I see that attracting somebody that is avoidantly attached or doesn't really satisfy my very important needs, like in a relationship or in a dating scenario. I I know that I like this person or I'm attached, have some sort of attachment now, and it's beginning to be hard for me to get out of it and just be logical and just leave. But I'm just seeing that, oh, he's not still doing the things I need, but I don't know what to do. Like, I still really like him. How do I just be serious and be strong and just be like, okay, no, I'm not doing it again. Something that helps me to do that is how the person's icks. Once you see that they're not doing the right thing, they're not doing right by you, and you're still finding it hard to leave. When I'm saying this, when it's still in the early stages, because if you're deep in a relationship with them, it's going to be hard. So first of all, that's why I said the first thing: be logical, so you don't even use your heart to think, and then you end up in a relationship with that person, and then the attachment and the love has grown so strong. So leaving is even harder than it would have been at the beginning. It's always good to leave as early as you can. That's what I tell myself these days. Once you start seeing something repeating itself and you don't like it, just leave. It's not going to change, it's not going to get better. If it has happened once, twice, thrice, especially if you have spoken about it, it is not going to get better. Take it from me. Getting into a relationship is not going to make them do better. If they can't do it at the beginning stages where they are still supposed to try and impress you and do right by you so that you want them more, then they're never going to do this in a relationship. I don't know why we keep lying to ourselves that it's never going to get better. So just leave. Because if you enter that relationship, it's going to be harder. You will cry, you will see Pepe, and you'll not be able to leave because you're so now, not only love, the attachment, the limerence, everything is there and it has trapped you in that relationship and you can't even leave because now your eyes are blinded and your hands are tired. You can't leave them. You don't know where to start from. So better just at the beginning. Once you see, just so once you see these patterns at the beginning, where you're still gauging them, when you're still judging, okay, does this person like me? When you're still trying to be logical, okay, does this person like me? Is this person serious? Is this person the type of person for me? They might like you, but they might still not be the right person for you. So that's also something you should keep in your mind. So when you're gauging all these things, you need to start like, okay, writing down. If he does something you don't like, write it down. Have a list of all his shortcomings, all his flaws, all his icks, all the things you don't like about him, so that like anytime he does something you don't like, write it. Or anytime you notice something you don't like about him, write it down. So that when you start getting so delusional and you need to get yourself out of that situation so that you can save yourself. Honestly, my phone died and I have no idea what I was saying before that. But just to sum it up, I'll just say be very strict about what the flash. Something is missing, the flash. Yes, I was saying that it's be very strict about what you want in a relationship and in a man. enough of giving very unnecessary compromises for people that don't deserve it, and start actually only accepting takes you things that tick your boxes ticks your boxes. You get what I mean? So yeah, stop settling for less. Stop making compromises that are so unnecessary for people that don't even deserve it or have not even earned it. And start putting yourself first. Be very strict. He doesn't communicate, doesn't send me good morning, doesn't like these are things that are very important to you. Everybody has theirs. Yours might be worth yours might be gifts. He doesn't give me gifts. He doesn't do random things. He doesn't take me out on dates as much. I love going on dates. I've told him, and he's not still taking me out on dates as much. Like, be realistic. It's okay if he doesn't do these things, but it's not for you. Like, that's okay for him, but not for you, because you know what you want, and you should not settle for less than what you want. Because why? It's not like there are people that know more people in the world, and that's the last person in the world. Trust me, there are lots of people that are willing to do these things. So why are you feeling like this is the only person that you can be with, that you can't? So you just have to settle, even if he's not really doing the important things, but at least he likes me. That's not enough. Liking you is not enough. He needs to do things that make you feel safe, feel happy, feel comfortable, that eases your stress, eases your anxiety. So you have to be very strict about what you want, and stop making unnecessary compromises. And also, for an anxiously attached person, I would say always, always, always make sure that whoever you're talking to or dating or going, yeah, dating, basically, in a relationship with, you can say for a certain that this person, I feel like this person loves me more than I love them. And not in a bad way, not like, oh, I don't know, I don't really love this person, but I'm just dating them because like, obviously, I'm not saying just date any Tom, Dick, and Harry as long as they like you more than you like them. No, I'm not saying that, because a lot of people can like you as a woman, as a fine girl, especially. There will be a lot of people that like you, and they don't still meet your, there are other things apart from them having stronger feelings for you. There's still other criteria, so make sure that your criteria are being checked. And then when you see that, okay, this person ticks like 80% of the boxes, realistically it would be hard to find someone that will tick like 100%, but you can even find 99.9. It's not important. In fact, nothing is impossible, to be honest. You can find someone that does everything right by you. So, but if you see that, okay, your pass mark is like, if you can do like 80% of the things that are important to me, or 85, and you're willing to work on the rest of the things, or at least you acknowledge it, then okay, yeah, this person is good to go. And then now go further to see how much they are showing you like affection. This is for anxiously attached people, like I said, how much they're showing you affection, how much they're actually doing things that make you feel so safe and secure. Make sure that their feelings for you are deeper than your feelings for them, because if your feelings are deeper for them than theirs for you, then it's going to be a problem if you have anxiously attached. And anxiously attached, if you are anxiously attached, God, I need to find another substitute word, because that thing is too long to be said over and over again. But yeah, if you have this attachment style, then you definitely need somebody that is more like a golden retriever, that is more into you, that you're into them. Because if not, it's going to be that tug of war. Even if it's balanced, if you start with somebody that you guys like each other on the same scale, if you're anxiously attached, along the line, the scale will be tipped, and you'll start liking them more, because it's just how we struggle. It's just what happens over time. The more we spend time with people, the more we connect with someone, the more our emotions rise and rise and rise. And at some point, you definitely surpass them. So it's better to have someone that has more feelings for you. And over time, as yours is increasing, theirs will most likely be increasing too, because there was already that gap. And for them to have that gap means they have very strong feelings about you. So it will be hard to out. It's not like it's a competition, but you understand what I mean. There needs to be balance. If you have that need for safety, then you need somebody that is willing to give it to you. Like, there are people, trust me, there are golden retriever type of men that are willing to love up on you. So no need, you don't have to settle. I don't know why we like to manage as women, like, oh, almost like the scarcity of men in the world. Like, you don't have to settle. You will find somebody that will be all over you. Trust me. Trust me. They exist. A lot of them. So if you settle, you will never find it. You will never have that experience. And that's just going to be sad, because I mean, at least you owe it to yourself to get yourself that experience that you've always wanted, right? Yeah, oh, the ick thing. I don't know if I finished off with the ick thing, but yeah, pick out all his icks. So anytime he misbehaves or fucks up, like for the first 3 months while you're assessing whether this person I really want to be with them, because you have to be very selective if you have an anxious attachment style. So when you're doing your gauging, you have to take like the first two, 1 to 3 months to gauge, and then when you notice that okay, 2 times this person has done this thing and they're not willing to change, leave immediately. Don't even give it room. If not, you accommodate it until it becomes something else. So that period that you're gauging everything, once he does something wrong, write it. Once you see something you don't like, write it. Once you see an attribute that you don't like, write it down. Start just be writing them. So anytime he does something wrong, go and look at all the icks, look at all the things you hate about him, look at all the things you don't like about him. The more he does it, anytime, no matter how like, oh, but I like it, but go and look at it. Even if you like it, you just look at that list. The more you look at it, the more you'll be like, this person is not even special. Look at this, look at what they're even doing. Ew, see what they even did. Like when you start seeing it like logically, like, what am I even doing? Like, am I crazy? See, look at this. Oh my god. Like, am I crazy? Look at this list. Look at what they are doing. I'm not supposed to be this kind of person. And then over time it becomes easier. You're like, one day you just be like, I beg, I'm not doing it again. I'm out. Do you get? So you need to be very, very, very strict. Once you see X, acknowledge them. Don't give excuses for things you don't like. Don't give excuses. Because the more you give excuses, the deeper you fall into that hole. The next thing is when you're tempted to, as an anxiously attached person to crash out, or you have that urge to, maybe when they pull away and you want to now start doing the most, you want to crash out in their DMs, you want to call them, you want to go to their house. I've done that thing before. I will appear in your house. If you don't reply my messages, you're not picking my calls. The next thing is that I will be in front of your house. I know your address. I know your house. I know your code. I know everything. Your security knows me. I will pull up and I'll be in your door at your doorstep knocking. Open the door for me. I probably know your code, so I'll probably open the door and I'll be there. You just see me in the sitting room sitting down, jacket. So when you have that urge to do things like that, impulsive things, unhealthy things like that, or crash out, double text, why are you not replying? I've told you like the last part, I said once they pull back, you to pull back. Because if you pull back, they push. If they pull, you push. You continue pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. What is that? What is that? I'm so sorry for whatever that noise is. I think is the hot water, and just listen to me. So whenever you have that urge, instead of doing that, if you even if you know that I want to tell him, I want to change it for him, or I want to ask him why is he not doing this? Why don't ever ask that question. Trust me, men know what they're doing. They know. Don't deceive yourself. Don't delude yourself. I'm talking from experience. They know what they're doing. So instead of that, crash out to AI, and I promise you, AI gives the best replies and advice ever. Since I started using AI to help my anxious attachment style, I have been doing way better. Because anytime I want to double text, I want to ask some stupid questions like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you cheating?" I'll go and just either I'll crash out to AI or I'll ask them the question I want to ask him instead. If I want to insult him, I'll insult AI instead. I'm so sorry, AI, but that's what you're there for. you know, and then when you do that, you don't even feel the need to do it again. Even after you've done it and you've calmed down, you'll be like, thank God I didn't even send that to him. That would have been crazy. Do you get? But while you're in the heat of it, it doesn't seem crazy to you because you're just filled with emotions and you're not thinking. You don't really see what you're actually doing until you've done it to AI and you've crashed out to your whatever your AI is, and then your AI is giving you advice and you've held yourself and you're calm now. Like Jesus, thank God I didn't send that because I would have looked and I would have been so stupid. I would have seemed so crazy and so stupid. So my best advice, crash out to AI, insult AI, anything you want to do, pour it on AI. Don't go and write epistles. The more you write epistles, the more you push the person away and the sadder you get and the cycle just continues. So don't write epistles. Take it from me. I was a chief epistle writer. Me. Once you just or you don't text me or you don't or you do something at write epistle. Hey, this. But you told me this. Now you're not doing this. How am I supposed to do this? If you knew that you were going to do this, you should have not texted me in the first place. Oh, it does not mean anything. Like, write epilogue. It doesn't change anything and it doesn't make them want to do better. I don't know why we deceive ourselves that it will maybe what you say something, it's pain them and they will, bro. If somebody's already acting a certain type of way over time, once, twice, trust me, there's nothing you want to tell them that will make. It's not that's just Dig it into your, put it inside your skull, like let it sink inside your skull. If you've said one thing twice, don't say it again. Trust me, they know what they're doing. Take it from me that they know what they're doing. So just either you crash out to AI and after a while you see that okay, there's no improvement and you're genuinely not seeing any improvement. X. You can give a couple days grace. Okay, let me still gauge the situation, a couple weeks. But after a period of time, you're seeing that deep down, this thing is not aligning. No matter how attached you are, be logical about it and deep. So by doing these things I've already like listed, it will be easy for you to be logical in these situations. And when you want to leave, it will be easy for you to leave because like you have your facts, you have your evidence, you have your proof, you have what you can show that yes, I'm not crazy. Like I have enough reasons to leave. Like he did this, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do this. Hello, everything is here. So what am I doing here? I'm going. This is not what I need. Like I have a long list of the things I don't like. Why am I here then? What am I doing here? Am I playing? Exactly. So the last thing I would say is talk to yourself like you're talking to your friend. Most times when we are in our heads with this attachment style, we are very mean to ourselves. We start telling ourselves that, oh, it's because of this. Oh, this is this. What is wrong with me? Something is wrong with me. This, I don't deserve this. Like you start saying very mean things to yourself. But if it was your friend that came to ask for advice in that same scenario, that same situation, you would never tell your friend those things because you are thinking you're outside the situation, so you can see clearly, you can think clearly, you can give good advice. You will tell your friend, you know that you yourself, you'll be the first one to tell your friend, what are you doing there? Leave. You don't deserve it. You'll be so sharp, your mouth will be so sharp. But when it now comes to you, you start telling yourself, oh, this thing is always happening to me. Maybe it's because I'm like this, I'm like this. Why does this always? You just self pity, self hatred, you ruin your confidence, you say all these mean things to yourself. You're so hard on yourself, like you're the problem. You're not the problem. Relax. Relax. Yes, there's some things about you that you can like work on, but trust me, the right person will never make you feel like you're the problem. They will never trigger your anxiety. They will make you feel safe. So as long as you're not feeling safe, they're not the right person. It's not you. Like it does. You don't have to be the problem. Do you understand? Like you don't actually have to be the problem. It doesn't have to be that there's something wrong with you. What if there's something wrong with them? Why are they behaving the way they're behaving? Why are they not making you feel safe? Other people that are making their partners feel safe, do they have two heads? So why are they doing these things to you? So they are the problem. Either they are pretentious, they are liars, they don't know what they want, they are just using you. Well, maybe they actually like you, but they're just not the person for you. There are so many reasons why they could be the problem in the situation and not you. Like it does not always have to be you. You stop taking the full blame and responsibility for the entire situation not working out and start feeling bad and hating yourself and pity for yourself. It's okay for them to be the problem. So these days, when these kind of things happen, I just tell myself they're probably just not the one for me. No matter how much I thought I liked them or I wanted them, they're not the one for me, and that's fine. Like the person that people always say that when it's right, when you know, when the person is the one for you, you're never going to question it. You're never going to feel unsettled. You're never going to feel insecure. You're never going to feel bothered. You're going to feel very confident, very safe in the situation, and you're not going to worry. Nothing's going to trigger your anxiety. Obviously, like you can fight here and there, it's natural, but like things that actually make you feel every moment you wake up, you're having panic attack, you're having anxiety, this person is taking you through a roller coaster of emotions. That is definitely not your person. Your person will not take you through a roller coaster of emotions. You will not be crying every other day. So it's okay for you not to be the problem. It's okay for them to be the problem. And it's okay for and it's okay that in as much as you really wanted it to be them and you really liked them and you really felt like you don't need them by the way, but you really felt all these things. It's okay for it to still not work out, no matter how much you wanted it. And like while you're in the situation, it feels very hard, it feels very heart wrenching. But when you're out of it, you first of all you will even remember that like you might remember your pain and how you felt, but it doesn't hurt you anymore. And like you always come out stronger. And then one thing I noticed that I always meet better people. I always meet better people. But the only way you can meet better people when you come out of a previous situation is if you leave. Stop always letting them leave you. You don't have to always be the one that is left behind. You leave. Start leaving situations now. When you've given grace, you've given one, two chances, you've gauged the situation over a period of time, it's still not giving what you know that deep down this is what I really want, then leave. Leave. Be the one that start being the one to leave. Stop being the one that is left. And the more you do that, the more confident you get, the more love you have for yourself, the more you stop settling for things that are beneath you. And the easier it gets. And to be honest, once you've attained that level of confidence and self-love, you start attracting people too that will treat you well. Because as long as you're in that negative headspace of anxious attachment and you've not healed it, I can't really promise that you would see somebody that would do the right things for you. So you need to constantly, over time, maintain your standards, leave when you need to leave, stop settling for less, and then the more you do it, the more you love yourself. The more you love yourself, the more you radiate that energy and you attract the kind of energy you give out. So when you start radiating that energy of confidence, of love, of not of independence, like emotional independence, you start attracting people too that are secure, that have that love to give, that are confident and they know what they want. Because you also know what you want. You start attracting the right kind of people because you've healed yourself to that point where you're confident and you don't need to be with somebody to feel complete, and then you only be with somebody when it is right and when the person feels right and does right by you, regardless of your emotions. You will only be with people or with somebody that does right by you and just wants to please you and does what makes you happy. So until you do all these things over time and it becomes easier and easier, the easier it gets for you to leave, the easier it gets for you to stop, to detach, the easier it gets for you to walk away, the easier it gets for you to be honest with yourself and say, no, this person is not treating me how I deserve. The more confident you get, the more love you have for yourself, the more you can stand alone. And it's only when you're now in that headspace where you're confident you can stand alone, you have self love, you're secure. That is when you now finally start attracting people that also have like energies and people that actually are healed and are willing and ready to love you the way you deserve to be loved. So you need to put in the work over time. It's not going to happen overnight. I'm also on that journey, so I'm happy that we're on the journey together. So put in the work, and over time, the more you do it, the more you're coming out of it. The more you apply these tips that I've told you, the more you practice these things, the more you love yourself. The more you leave situations that are not worth you or your time or your energy. The easier it gets, and the easier it gets, the more confident you get, and the more confident you are, and the more love you have for yourself, the more you attract people that are willing to love you. Yeah. So if you don't have self love, to be honest, your relationships are never going to work because it's going to affect you in so many ways. So these are the things you can do as an anxiously attached person to work on your attachment style and start only accepting things that you deserve and things that you want. Okay. And start being more confident to yourself. And yeah, everything will fall in place. Everything will be fine. You are loved. You are enough. You don't need anybody. Everything that you need to be successful, to be the woman you want to be, and to even attract love, everything is inside you. You just have to find it. You just have to dig it out. You just have to work on it, work on yourself. And over time, you're going to blossom into this beautiful flower and you're just going to live an amazing life and you're going to be so confident, so in love with yourself, and you have people that are in love with you as well because you just radiate that energy. So you're enough. Just the fact that you even took this step to try and see what you can do about it means that you're willing to work on yourself, means that you're a passionate person, and means that there's a lot of good stuff waiting for you ahead. So I'm glad that you came here. If there's anything else you want to talk about, leave it in the comment section, or you want me to talk about, or yeah, share, leave it in the comment section. I am here for you and I'll be happy to talk about it. So, yeah, I hope you have an amazing day, amazing night, whatever it is. If you watch it extent, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video. It helps me and it encourages me, and share if you want, and remember that if anybody loves you, I love you. For the fact that you're even watching this video, I love you. That's enough for me to love you. And yeah, see you in my next one. Bye. So, oh shit, somebody's home. Why? Oh my god, I left this thing on. Relationship. Is it not open?